The photos lay on the table between us like open wounds. She stared at them, her lips parted but wordless, her face locked in a mask of frozen silence. And in that silence, more than in any confession, any scream, any denial, I felt the life we'd built unraveling, thread by thread. It hadn't started with the photos. It started with whispers, subtle changes I told myself were nothing. The late-night texts she brushed off as work. The faint perfume I didn't recognize clinging to her sweater. The way she started turning her phone face down when she set it on the counter. I noticed. Of course I noticed. But love makes you complicit in your own blindness. I told myself we were tired, busy, just drifting through one of those seasons every marriage has. Until the night I followed her. She said she had a meeting. It was late, nearly 9. Something in her tone, it was too light, too rehearsed, made me grab my coat and trail her car through the rain-slicked streets. She didn't go downtown to the office. She drove to a quiet restaurant on the edge of the city, the kind with dim lights and booths that offered shadows for secrets. From my car, I watched her slide into a booth. Moments later, he joined her. Tall, sharp suit, a hand brushing her cheek before he Saturday. They leaned close, laughter passing between them like a current. I didn't storm in. I didn't smash windows or fists. I lifted my camera instead, my hands trembling as I captured proof. Proof I didn't want, but needed. Click. Her smile. Click. His hand covering hers. Click. Their lips meeting across the table. Each shot was a blade carving into me. Yet I pressed the shutter again and again, knowing I could never confront her without these. Days passed before I said a word. I walked through our home like a ghost, hearing her laugh in the kitchen, seeing her brush her hair in the mirror, wondering how much of it was real and how much had been a lie. At night, lying beside her, I listened to her breathe and thought, this is the sound I trusted more than anything. And it's the sound of someone who betrayed me. I rehearsed what I would say 100 times. Every version broke apart in my throat. Finally, on a Tuesday evening, I asked her to sit down. We sat in the living room, the air heavy with unsaid words. She tilted her head, smiling faintly, trying to read me. "What's wrong?" she asked. Instead of answering, I slid the envelope across the table. She frowned, picked it up, and pulled out the photos. For a moment, her expression was blank. Then her face drained of color. Her mouth opened, closed. Her hands trembled. And then, silence. Not the silence of someone crafting excuses. Not the silence of guilt begging for forgiveness. It was worse. It was the silence of recognition. Of knowing there was no lie that could hold back what I had already seen. That silence broke me more than her affair ever could. "I followed you," I said finally, my voice raw. "I saw you. I saw him." Her fingers hovered over the photos like they burned. "David," she whispered, but the rest of the sentence died. "Why?" My voice cracked. "Why him? Why this? We had everything. Or at least, I thought we did." She closed her eyes, and when she finally spoke, her words weren't excuses, they were daggers. "I felt alive with him," she whispered. You stopped seeing me. You were always working, always tired. With him, I remembered who I was before I became just someone's wife." The honesty gutted me. She wasn't cruel, she wasn't smug, she was broken, too. But that didn't make it easier. It made it worse. "You could have told me," I said, my throat tight. "You could have fought for us instead of throwing us away." Her tears finally came, sliding down her cheeks. But she didn't reach for me. She didn't beg. She just sat there, the silence between us heavier than any storm. I stood, pacing the room, my hands in my hair. Every memory, our wedding day, the birth of our son, nights in our first apartment eating ramen on the floor, flashed through my mind, poisoned now by the knowledge that she had chosen someone else. I wanted to scream, to shatter something, to demand she undo what had been done. But there is no undoing betrayal. It's permanent, like glass shattered on the floor. You can gather the pieces, but you'll cut yourself trying to fit them back together. Finally, I turned back to her. "I loved you more than I loved myself," I said. "And you killed that without a second thought." She flinched, covering her mouth, but still, silence. That silence told me everything. The next days blurred. I moved into the guest room. We passed each other like strangers, exchanging only necessary words. She tried, once, to talk, but I couldn't bear to hear more. Her silence at the table had said enough. Her betrayal wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. At night, I lay awake wondering when it had started. Had he been at our parties? Had she texted him while sitting beside me? How many nights of late meetings had actually been him? Every possibility was a fresh wound, and there were too many to count. The breaking point came a week later. She found me in the kitchen, her eyes red, her voice trembling. "David, I still love you. I'm sorry." I looked at her, at the woman I had once trusted with my whole heart, and realized something final. Apologies couldn't rewrite silence. "You loved him enough to betray me," I said. "You loved him enough to let me find out this way. And that silence, you chose it. You chose not to fight for us." Her face crumpled, but I walked past her, the decision already sealed in my chest like stone. That night, I packed my things. Not angrily, not dramatically, just quietly, like a man leaving a house that was no longer his. She stood in the doorway as I left, her body shaking, tears falling freely now. But she said nothing. And in that silence, our marriage ended. Looking back, I think it was never the photos that destroyed us. It was her silence after seeing them. The silence that told me she had already made her choice long before I knew. The photos were just proof. The silence was the truth. And it was that truth, not the betrayal itself, that shattered our whole life together.